Welcome, friends, to another edition of Wolff Responds. I want to respond today to two big issues in many people's minds: the issue of immigration on the one hand, and the issue of tariffs and Chinese, Canadian, and Mexican products coming into the United States. And I want to make it clear what my goal is here. I want to explain to you why we have these problems. And in particular, I want to put the blame where it belongs. And that puts me right up against the mainstream media, who are busy putting blame where it doesn't belong. Here we go. In order for immigrants to come across the border illegally and to become inside the United States undocumented immigrants, they have to be able to get and hold a job. That's because when they come, they are overwhelmingly very poor. There are some exceptions, but they're a tiny percentage. They have no savings. Most of them come literally with what they can carry or wear on their bodies. So, in order for immigration to continue, those who make it have to be able to make a phone call back home, wherever they came from, and let them know it worked. I got a job. They can't even go and get unemployment or any other kind of public support because they're an undocumented immigrant. They don't have the documents that would entitle them to support. And even if they have some kind of document, they take an enormous risk if they go and apply for public assistance, because that may give the US government information that they're an undocumented immigrant, and that risks being deported. So they won't go. They've got to get a job. So the reason immigration happens and continues and grows is because they get those jobs. And here comes where the blame ought to be applied. Who's giving them the jobs? The answer: American employers. Those are the only ones who have jobs to give. That's what the word employer means. Well, the United States Census tells us that 3% of the American people are employers. The other 97% of us are not. That means 3% of our people are the ones providing the jobs, which alone count for the persistence of immigration. The law requires employers not to hire undocumented immigrants. They violate the law all the time. The government requires them to report undocumented immigrants. They violate the law all the time. Why do they do it? Well, the answer is the same answer you give for everything else corporations and employers do. It's profitable. And the immigrant is more profitable than the regular American worker. So employers discriminate against domestic workers, native-born American workers, and substitute immigrants wherever they can. Number one, because immigrants accept lower pay, but that's only half of it. The other half is you can abuse the undocumented immigrant. He or she can arrive Friday afternoon to pick up their paycheck just like everybody else. But the employer says, I don't have any money this week. Come back next week. What's the worker going to do? Run to the police? Wouldn't dare. You might get deported. You don't have documents proving you're a citizen. Go to the Labor Department to say, I've been stiffed. Same problem. Employers know that. They can do things to workers, and I won't even go to abuse, sexual abuse, all of that. I'll leave that. You can figure it out. Employers are what keep immigration going. They deserve the blame, and they pay a lot of money to a lot of advertisers and to a lot of mainstream media not to explain what I just did to you. Now let's look at the story about Chinese goods coming in, and Mr. Trump is going to hit them with a tariff. Half of the goods coming from China are produced in corporations in China that are owned and operated by U.S. employers. They're the ones that over the last 30 years closed their factories in Chicago or San Francisco or anywhere else in the United States in order to open them in China. Why? For profit, of course. They can pay much lower wages in China, and they have a wonderful, big, rich market. China's is the fastest growing market in the world. And the Chinese said to them, come, we offer you lots of profits. So they went. For China, it's good because it's jobs for their people. For the United States corporation, it's good because it's profit. You pay lower wages and you can sell a lot of stuff there. And what you don't sell there, you bring back to the United States because you could charge a little less because you pay so much lower wages. So why are we angry at the Chinese? They're not the people who made the decision. The decision to open a factory in China was made by the American corporation. It wanted to bring the products back into the United States, charge a little less than they used to cost, and have big profit because they pay way less in wages. That's the truth of it. And the rest of it, why are the Chinese goods that are not produced by American subsidiaries flooding in? Because it was profitable for the companies that bring those goods here to do so. The number one way that China exported its goods to the United States was through the agency of Walmart. You would never have heard of Walmart, a little department store in Bentonville, Arkansas. The people in Bentonville hardly knew what it was. But they got on the train early, bringing cheap Chinese goods to the American people. Why? Because it was profitable. They could get those goods for a fraction of what it would cost to produce them in the United States. So they jumped on the chance. They became the power of Walmart through handling and bringing into the United States Chinese goods. So if you're angry at what it means for Chinese goods to come into this country and make it impossible to produce competitively here in the United States, that was a decision made by the profit motive operating in Walmart to bring in the goods and in all those American companies that shut their production and moved it to China. You know who to blame for the problem of China's position in the world and immigration? The corporate leaders of this country, the 3% of our people that are employers, made all those decisions to move to China, to import from China, to hire and exploit the immigrant. Put the blame where it belongs. Otherwise, you don't have the right to complain about the situation because you are colluding with people who not only want you to do that, but want you to blame the wrong people, and you ought to suspect their motives. If interventions like these strike you as valuable, please share these videos with friends, neighbors, co-workers, your family. That's why we make them. And let me ask you, in all honesty, If you can help defray the cost to us of producing and distributing these videos, please do so. Our website, democracyatwork.info, will show you how to do that. Thank you.